Yeah, I'm a crim, all right? So you just leave me alone, and I'll leave you alone.
Come on, Simon. Your mummy and daddy are waiting downstairs.
No, I'm not going. I want to see Doreen.
Well, I'm afraid Doreen's running a bit late this morning.
No.
You can't keep your parents waiting. Well, at least go with the nurse and get changed.
No.
Oh, thank goodness you're here.
Oh, I'm sorry I'm late, Doctor, but I missed the tram.
It's
and
all
then
right, you're forgiven on one condition. Get this little boy to agree to go home.
Well, what's all this about, Simon?
I wanted to see you. I've got something for you.
What is it?
It's a painting for you. I did it myself.
Oh, gee, Simon, it's terrific.
I've got to go now.
Yeah, well, you look after yourself, won't you?
Thanks for reading me a story.
Well, thanks for the painting.
Bye.
Bye.
You're a lifesaver. Now, look, don't worry about being late. I'll square it with Sister.
Julie, these can be returned to central files, thank you. Oh, good morning, Mr. Fletcher.
Morning.
Did you manage to see your interior design friend?
Yes, I did, Mrs. Davidson. Look, I think you'd be better off getting somebody else. She's a bit tied up at the moment.
Oh, there's no rush. I don't want the work to start immediately. I'm really only looking for ideas at the moment.
Oh, yes, well, I honestly don't think that she'll be your style. Her work's ultra-modern.
I hope you're not suggesting I'm in my dotage.
No, not in the least. It's just that, well, there have been quite a few complaints about her work. There's some talk that it's a bit shoddy. I think you'd be better off picking somebody out of the telephone book. Excuse me, please, Mrs. Davidson.
Oh, Mrs. Jackson?
Yes, Mrs. Davidson.
Are you on friendlier terms with Jim Fletcher at the moment?
Well, apart from a certain difference of opinion, I suppose so. Why?
Well, I rather feel I've put my foot in it. This relationship he had with the interior decorator, what do you know about it?
Well, from what I can gather, it was she that broke it off. But I think Jim thinks more of her than he's prepared to admit.
I was afraid of that. I get the feeling my innocent inquiry has caused a bit of friction. He's just done his best to put me off using her.
Oh, he wouldn't be so petty as to discourage business. Unless, perhaps, he thinks it would reflect on him if her work was not up to scratch.
That's silly. Besides, I was speaking to a friend of mine last night who knows her reputation. I think I'll visit her at lunchtime and see for myself. Oh, mentioning no names, of course.
By the way, Lizzie was asking after Doreen. Do you know how she's getting on at the hospital?
No, I must give Dr. Henderson a ring. I'll let you know. Oh, and Mrs. Jackson, if Doreen does come back to visit, I think she should be discouraged. I know it's hard not letting her see her friends, but it's the only way to make her stand on her own 2 feet.
Ah, g'day, Vera. How you been? Still sucking lemons for breakfast?
Who are you?
Oh, Vera. Don't you remember me? I'm hurt. I did a stretch in here about 3 years ago.
MYRA Desmond.
The very same.
Where's the accompanying officer?
Oh, no, Vera, you got me all wrong. I'm straight as a die now.
Well, what are you doing here?
Just visiting. Prison Reform Group. Mrs. Davidson asked me to see a Chrissie Latham.
MYRA Desmond.
The very same.
Where's the accompanying officer?
Oh, no, Vera, you got me all wrong. I'm straight as a die now.
Well, what are you doing here?
Just visiting. Prison Reform Group. Mrs. Davidson asked me to see a Chrissie Latham.
How did you manage to worm your way into this? Mrs. Davidson's a member.
Of course she is. We've got prison officers and lawyers, ex-crims, hookers, junkies, even cops. All united in a common cause.
Just because you've got the support of some semi-official bunch of do-gooders, don't you try and push your luck with me. Now, sign in. You should know the rules.
That's what I like about you, Vera. You're so stirrable. Fag, Chrissie?
There's no smoking in the interview room, Desmond. You know that.
Rules were made to be broken, Vera.
You put that out, or I'll stop this visit at once.
Look, I don't have to be here. I'm doing this as a favour to Mrs. Davidson.
And while you're here, you'll obey the regulations. Now, put it out.
Never could resist screw baiting. Mrs. Davidson's told me a bit about you. You've got just over 5 weeks with your kid, eh?
Yeah, that's right. I read about your campaign, though, how you're trying to get the rules changed and that. Well, any chance of it happening, do you reckon?
Not in time to help you, I'm afraid, love. Ah, you know what the government's like. Takes them 6 weeks before they read our petition, 6 months before they bother to reply, and 6 years before they think about doing anything.
Looks like I got myself nicked in the wrong state, doesn't it?
Ah, it's the same old story. No room, no facilities, no medical attention. We come up with a reasonable answer, they hit us with another excuse. Let's face it, the law hasn't changed much since Captain Cook.
They can't take her away from me. She's all I've got. I don't want her put in a home.
Hang on, kid, don't get upset. Look, you're due for parole soon, aren't you?
Yeah, but you know what that's like. You can't rely on it.
Yeah. Look, haven't you got anyone on the outside that could help out until then? Family?
Oh, only me dad and me brother. I wouldn't let her stay with them.
I don't think you've got much choice, love. She'll probably be fostered out rather than put in a home, though.
Oh, thanks a lot.
I'm sorry, Chrissie. We'll keep stirring for a change in the law, but as it stands, there's no way they're going to let you keep your baby after she's a year old.
Hello, Mrs. Jackson.
Doreen, what are you doing here?
I came to see Lizzie.
I'm afraid you can't.
Well, what about Bea or Chrissie?
Doreen, Mrs. Davidson would prefer you stay away from here. How can you possibly make a future for yourself when you keep on living in the past?
Yeah, well, I was allowed to the last time I was out.
Yes, and look what happened. You rely too heavily on Bea and Lizzie. Oh, I'm sorry, Doreen, but there's nothing I can do. Mrs. Davidson's the only one who could give you permission, and she's out at the moment. Well, how's the new job? Lizzie's worrying the life out of me for news.
Well, it's great. I love it. And the kids are terrific.
You making lots of new friends?
Oh, yeah.
Well, you try and get out as much as you can. Get back into the swing of things.
Yeah, I will. Well, give my love to Bea and Lizzie, won't you?
Of course.
Come through and sign out, Desmond. And you can be sure I'll be speaking to Mrs. Davidson about you.
Good. Say hello to her for me.
Myra, what are you up to these days?
Hi, Mrs. Jackson. No, I'm not doing too bad. Bought myself a little bookshop with the old man's insurance money. Not a gold mine, but it keeps me going.
Hi, Myra. Remember me?
Doreen Anderson, how are you,
If you want to have a reunion, do it outside.
Anything for a friend, Vera. Going my way?
Yeah, I guess so. Bye, Mrs. Jackson.
Bye, Doreen. Bye, Myra.
I'm amazed that you can be so civil to them.
Vera, they're ex-prisoners now. They're not even on parole.
What did Burns want anyway?
She wanted to see Lizzie.
Well, at least you didn't let her in.
No, I didn't. Governor's orders. Now, is there anything else you want to chip me about? Or are you putting in a written report?
Prison reform group takes up most of my spare time now. Still, it's worthwhile. We're trying to get them to allow mothers to keep their kids till they're 3 years old. That's why the governor called me in to see Chrissie Latham.
Oh, Chrissie.
Yeah.
How is she?
Oh, a bit depressed, Natch. Not much fun having your kid taken away from you. Is she a friend of yours?
Oh, sort of. I spent the last 2 weeks with her in maternity.
You're pregnant?
I was.
Oh, sorry, love. Didn't mean to pry.
Yeah, well, I think it's bloody awful if they take the little kids away from their mothers.
Yeah. Chrissie had family on the outside that could take care of her.
Well, do you reckon they'd let me look after her? I could be her foster mother.
Oh, I doubt it, love. You've only just got out.
Yeah, but I got my own house and a job.
So if you're working, how are you going to look after her?
Oh, yeah.
You could try, but I think they'll knock you back.
Yeah, I suppose.
Oh, I don't know. Maybe she'd be better off in a home. Prison's no place for a kid.
But neither is a home if her mother's not there.
I'll come back, darling, you know that.
I know, but it doesn't make the waiting any easier. I wish you didn't have to go.
Well, so do I, but it's something I've just got to do.
Hold me.
We'll be together again soon. It'll be just like old times.
I love you, Doreen.
I love you too.
Well, I mean, I intend to spend a very quiet afternoon here in my flat with my wife.
Yeah?
Yeah, except it might be all that quiet. I'm sorry.
Do you love me anymore?
I know it isn't working. You know, every time we get things sorted out, something goes wrong. We're just tearing each other apart. We end up hating each other.
I'd never hate you.
Look, I want a divorce, Doreen.
open the door.